Have you ever wondered how it all began? Not just a country, but civilization itself. Our story starts on the banks of a river, a ribbon of life that carved a path through an endless desert. This is the story of Egypt, a saga stretching across millennia, from divine pharaohs to the digital age. It's a tale of invention, conquest, and the unbreakable human spirit. Let's travel back 10,000 years. Climate change was turning North Africa into the Sahara we know today. But the Nile River, with its predictable annual flood, created a paradise of black, fertile soil. The land the ancients called Kemet. This lifeline allowed small communities to grow, and by 3100 BCE, they had formed two kingdoms, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. Then came a legendary king, Narmer, who united them both. He created the world's very first nation-state, establishing a model of pharaonic power that would last for 3,000 years. This unification kicked off the Old Kingdom, Egypt's first golden age. The pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was seen as a living god, the incarnation of Horus. This divine status fueled one of the most ambitious projects in human history, the pyramids. It all started with the Step Pyramid of Djoser, a revolutionary design by the genius architect Imhotep. This quest for the perfect eternal home culminated in the Great Pyramids of Giza, built for the pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. These weren't just tombs, they were cosmic engines, designed to launch the king into the afterlife and maintain universal order. But even this glorious era couldn't last. A mix of climate change, economic strain, and rising local powers caused the Old Kingdom to collapse, plunging Egypt into a century of chaos. Out of this turmoil, a new power rose from the city of Thebes. The pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom presented themselves as shepherds of the people. This was a time of classic literature and expansion into Nubia to secure gold and trade. But this renaissance also faded, giving way to foreign rulers known as the Hyksos. They brought new military technology to Egypt, like the horse-drawn chariot and the composite bow. Little did they know, the Egyptians would master these weapons and use them to reclaim their land. The expulsion of the Hyksos ignited the new kingdom, Egypt's age of empire and its absolute peak. This was the era of warrior pharaohs who built an empire stretching from Syria to Sudan. The great Thutmose III, known as the Napoleon of Egypt, created a professional army and demanded tribute from conquered lands. All this wealth flowed into Thebes, transforming it into a magnificent city dominated by the sprawling Karnak temple, dedicated to the state god Amun. The new kingdom also gave us some of history's most famous names. There was Hatshepsut, the powerful female pharaoh who launched legendary trade expeditions and built a stunning terrace temple. Then came Akhenaten, the religious revolutionary who abandoned the old gods to worship a single sun disk. His radical experiment died with him, and his young successor, Tutankhamen, famously restored the old religion. And who could forget Ramesses the Great? His long reign was defined by colossal building projects and the world's first ever recorded peace treaty after a massive battle with the Hittites. But after Ramesses, a combination of invasions by the mysterious sea peoples, internal corruption, and the growing power of the priesthood weakened the throne, leading to another period of decline. For the next several centuries, Egypt became a prize for rising empires. Libyans, Nubians, Assyrians, and finally, Persians all took their turn, ruling the Nile Valley. A brief spark of independence flickered during the Saite period, a nostalgic attempt to recapture the glory of the Old Kingdom. But it was fleeting. Then, in 332 BCE, a new conqueror arrived, Alexander the Great. He was welcomed as a liberator from the Persians. After his death, his general Ptolemy took control, beginning a new dynasty. Ptolemaic Egypt was a brilliant fusion of Greek and Egyptian culture. The new capital, Alexandria, became the intellectual heart of the Mediterranean, home to the legendary library and lighthouse. The Ptolemies ruled as pharaohs, respecting Egyptian traditions, but they governed as Greek kings. The last of this line was the famous Cleopatra, a brilliant and charismatic leader. She allied with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony, desperately trying to keep Egypt independent from the rising power of Rome. Her defeat at the Battle of Actium and her death marked the end of pharaonic rule. In 30 BCE, the land of the pharaohs became a province of the Roman Empire. As the breadbasket of Rome, Egypt was vital. It was during this time that Christianity spread rapidly along the Nile. Egypt became a major center for early Christian thought and the birthplace of monasticism. Eventually, a unique Egyptian church, the Coptic Church, emerged, with its own language directly descended from the ancient Egyptian tongue. In the 7th century, a new force swept out of Arabia. The armies of Islam conquered Egypt, establishing a new capital that would eventually become Cairo. Over centuries, Egypt became an Arabic-speaking Islamic nation, though its Coptic Christian community endured. For a time, it was a province of larger caliphates, but it often enjoyed a degree of independence. This led to the rise of the Fatimid dynasty, who made Cairo a glorious center of learning. They were succeeded by the Ayyubids, founded by the legendary Saladin, who famously recaptured Jerusalem from the Crusaders. Next came one of history's most unusual ruling classes, the Mamluks. They were a caste of slave soldiers who seized power and ruled Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. They were fierce warriors who famously stopped the Mongol invasion cold and kicked out the last of the Crusaders. But in 1517, they too were conquered, this time by the Ottoman Empire. For the next 300 years, Egypt was a wealthy but quiet province. That all changed in 1798, when Napoleon Bonaparte invaded. His military campaign failed, but it shattered Egypt's isolation and revealed its strategic importance to the modern world. The chaos left by the French was filled by an ambitious Ottoman officer named Muhammad Ali. Often called the founder of modern Egypt, he launched a revolutionary program of modernization, building a modern army, new industries, and establishing a dynasty that would rule until the middle of the 20th century. But his successors fell deep into debt with European powers. The construction of the Suez Canal, a marvel of engineering, bankrupted the country and led to the British occupation in 1882. The 20th century was defined by the fight for true independence. The 1919 revolution was a mass uprising against British rule, and though Egypt became nominally independent, Britain kept control of security and the Suez Canal. Discontent with the monarchy and foreign influence boiled over in 1952, when a group of military officers staged a revolution. This brought the charismatic Gamal Abdel Nasser to power. He became a hero in the Arab world when he nationalized the Suez Canal. His successor, Anwar Sadat, made a dramatic shift, making peace with Israel. Sadat's assassination brought Hosni Mubarak to power for a 30-year rule marked by stability but political stagnation. Then came the Arab Spring. In January 2011, massive protests in Cairo's Tahrir Square, fueled by cries for bread, freedom, and social justice, forced Mubarak to resign. The years that followed have been turbulent. As Egypt navigates the immense challenges of the 21st century, a massive population, dwindling resources, and the ongoing quest for the freedom that sparked a revolution. From the first king to the digital screens of Tahrir Square, the story of Egypt is a continuous thread. It's a civilization that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the dawn of the modern world. More than a museum of ancient wonders, Egypt is a living, breathing nation, forever drawing from the deep well of its past as it carves its path into the future. Its story is, in so many ways, the story of us all a timeless struggle to build, to believe, and to endure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories from our incredible world.